Johnny Daniel, independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up. How are you tonight? Hello. It's 7 o'clock on Wednesday. We are here and ready to go. Sorry my hair looks a mess. I finished running. It was in a ball cap, and I'll say this too. I haven't had a haircut in almost a year. I'm going next week. So it's amazing the personal services that you lean on to keep your confidence and your general appearance. Yeah, there's been some things that have been lacking in this pandemic. So I have to show you though. All right, ready? Think. Ready? Wizard of Oz. Ruby slippers, right? There's no place like home. Ha ha, funny. Not anymore, but hey. All right, so I have to show you. Tara, my daughter, bought this year her first set of Christmas presents for my husband Joel and I. And this was this year's big Christmas present from her. She said I needed glitter shoes to match my girls, the personality, the studio, and everything I do creative. So let me flip around and I'm gonna show you my shoes. Hold on. All right, now, ready? Ready? Glitter, 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 red, woo! And they're all the way glittery. Look at that. Isn't that cool? So, with that being said, I am going to put you down and we're going to get to creating. So, if you need to ask me, Tara has deemed those as my live shoes. So, there you go. So, if you're on with me, please say hello. So yeah. Everybody needs a pair of red glitter tennis shoes, right? Okay. So there you go. All right, so for tonight, I figured since we're not traveling that much, just like Dorothy, yes, exactly. Except we want the tornado to be able to travel, right? Okay, but hey. So couple things. So tonight we're gonna go to the beach by blending in. I'm going to show you how to use the blending brushes tonight. And before that, I should show you the class for Saturday, huh? Hold on. So the class on Saturday is Valentine Favors. So we're going to do a really cute box with a bunch of hearts to make kind of a rose kind of thing. And then you're gonna get, this is the slider treat box. You're gonna get chocolate to put inside. Hi Lise, how are ya? And then we're gonna make this cute gusseted bag with the True Love Designer Series paper. It's got a magnet and we'll have filler for inside. I don't know if it's going to be chocolate or like a little game or something, but it'll be something you can give for Valentine's Day. And last but not least, I should have watched this before I went on screen. Sorry. Let's see if I can do it real quick. Almost. So this design was copy shared and made my own from a fellow demonstrator out of, I believe it was Germany. Hey Iris, how are you? I'm not sure if it was Germany, and here's why I say that. Because all of her stuff, I believe, was in German, but it could have been Dutch, it could have been, yeah. Anyways, and her YouTube video was obviously in that language, and the subtitles were in that language. So I was translating, and yeah, it made life interesting. So anyways, so this is the card we're gonna do, and the card has a gift card pocket in it secretly. So there's the card. Well, look at this. So this is the little tag. So the back of it has a little saying and where you can sign it. And then this has 2 things of tear and tape so you can put your gift card on there. And then there's a secret pocket in the back. So I don't think I've seen that anywhere. I think that's an original idea. The card is not, but the pocket I believe is. So I'm gonna leave that because I don't want to tear it trying to hurry. So that is Saturday. I do have, I believe it's 2 spots in the morning and 2 spots in the afternoon left. Iris, yes, I have you down. So I'm going to grab a sip before we get going. So this card, okay, so I have started creating cards of, I guess, where I wish I could travel. So next up, I need to, I guess, order the mountain set because I've done a lot of beach stuff lately. So this card, we're going to do a tiny bit differently in the sense that we're going to do it in Pacific Point instead of balmy blue in the background. So it's going to be a tad bit brighter. But let's get started, huh? So on my table, if you're creating this at a later time, on my table, yes, it requires quite a bit of ink. I have Sahara sand, and let me bring the card back here. So Sahara sand is the sand color that I use. Bumblebee is obviously the sun. Balmy blue and Pacific Point is the sky blended. Gray granite, the lighter gray, is the little, is that pampas grass? I'm trying to remember. Reeds? I don't know. So anyways, the grass here, and then the base of the lighthouse, and then the second 2-step for the lighthouse is basic gray, if I can remember, as well as the birds and the sandpipers and all that. And then the ocean here is in Pacific Point as well. So let's finish with the supplies. I have blocks. So for the stamps, I have High Tide. There's plenty of other stamp sets that you can use. You just need some kind of stamp set. And I was thinking, you know, the one with the Adirondack chair would work. Let's see, what else would work? Any of the sailboat ones, anything beachy for this color scheme. Now, you could do an ombre card and just, like, for Valentine's Day, go really light pink to deep red. I mean, there's so many things you could do. You could just create stripes if you wanted to. I did see that on Pinterest. I know. So, I'm going to stamp afterwards. I'm not masking this time, even though I have a Post-it out. So, I wanted to show you, I'm going to use the Post-it. This was on a tip that I did on the team page. Yes, I have a private group for my team. It's another benefit that I do if you sign up. And I have, just like the Facebook page with the daily themes, I have that as well, but different on the team page. So this is basically a fingerprint blocker while I'm coloring. You'll understand. So let me finish the supplies here. So this is thick. I think this might still be Whisper White. I bought a whole bunch before it went out. So this might be thick Whisper White. This might be basic white, but hey, you know, whatever. So cardstock, but thick is the main thing. 4 1/4 by 11, scored in the middle at 5 1/2. Valley side goes out, mountain side down. And I'm gonna grab my Stampin' Seal Plus, and we're gonna glue the Pacific Point onto my card base. This is what I would call an outer mat as I'm writing directions. So hopefully get it straight. All right, there we go. Okay, and I'm just gonna put this to the side because this is really what I'm concerned about. All right, and then we're gonna move the stamp set as well. So let's see here. I can move this down a touch so it's a little bit more comfortable. Okay, so I'm gonna start with my dirt. You can start with your sky, you can start with your yellow. It really is up to you. One thing I would suggest though is when you're doing your sun, do it first before the blue so you don't have to put a whole bunch of yellow on to offset the green kind of tone. You know, yellow and blue make green. Okay, so just, you know, simple little things, right? So you're gonna tap, tap, tap if you haven't used the blender brushes already. And we're just gonna put this up top here. I'm gonna train myself to put my fingers on that so I don't end up with inky fingers and then it transfers, okay? So we're gonna start off the page here and we're just gonna swirl, swirl, swirl. Okay, tap, 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 and then off the page, swirl, swirl, swirl. Now, if you are just getting started with these blending brushes, what I would say is, and I did this when I first started, start here. And it reminded me to start off of my cardstock. You know, you just gotta do what you gotta do, but if that's what you need to do, go for it, right? I mean, now I've got it where it's not a problem, but when I first started, I was like, oh, let me mash it. Oh, let me do this, because I'm used to sponging. And no, you gotta start off the page. So, yeah, you really can't tell the difference, but I'm still using my old stack. So, all right, so now I'm gonna do my sun. Now on this one, I had stamped the circle and I really didn't like how that came out. So I'm just gonna do the corner, okay? So I am grabbing and moving this, and I'm grabbing my brown brush, and I'm gonna see what this, yeah, we're good. Okay, so we're gonna blend, 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 and I'm gonna do some yellow. This is Bumblebee, if you're curious. I wanna make the sun coming down like this, so I want the darker spot in the corner, and then a little bit coming off of it. So I think that is what I am gonna do for that. Okay. Like I said, lots of ink for this one. And I don't know, let's see, it doesn't work very well with re-inkers, so you really want to make sure that you've got ink pads. I don't think there's a substitute for it. I do have all the ink pads. They come at no cost to you if you come for open day on Mondays. The invite goes out on Thursdays at 6 a.m. because we are still running with restrictions, so just letting you know. So I'm onto my blues, but I will tell you this. Blending brushes come in a pack of 3 for $12, and I'm going to use 2 of them tonight because I don't want any yellow getting in my blue. I don't need green sky. We're not doing hurricanes, okay? So when you clean these, just rinse them. If there's a little bit of staining, that's okay. If that bothers you, touch a Dawn dish soap and just rinse them in warm water. Let them air dry. Try not to crunch them too much when you are drying them out, because the more you mash them, the more use they get, right? So there you go. Okay, so I'm going to put this right on the edge here right now. Start off, yes, and we're just going to swirl, 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 right? Now, sometimes you might want to start on this side so you don't end up with your darker side always being over here, okay? So I'm just covering this to give my white a completely blue tint. Okay. And I notice I have a starting spot there that I don't really care for, so I'm going to try to soften that out. Okay, so that's what I have so far. Now I'm going to close the Balmy Blue up and I'm going to go to Pacific Point. I'm going to do a little bit of darker for my sky. Sorry, brain. Okay, so I'm going to start up here and I'm just going to do a little bit. Okay, and leave some of that light still coming through. So that is what I have for blending. And I'm going to touch right there. There was a little bit of white and I didn't like that. So toss my Post-it. It's done its job of guarding my fingers against getting super inky. Yay. So, Post-it's job is never done in the crafter's world, is it? So now, we're going to do some traditional stamping. I've got gray granite here. I've got a couple blocks and my stamp set. So we're going to start with getting the stamps out of the case. We're going to start with our lighthouse. My gosh, they're sticking together quite nicely, aren't they? Yeah. So I'm going to start with my lighthouse. Now, when you have two-step stamping, you need to determine either what was designed or what you like best. But usually, what is designed with all the detail stuff is the overlay, and what is more block-ish is the underlay, is what I call it, or step one. So for this one, the lighthouse, that's not sticking very well. Hold on. I just washed them, so I know they're gonna work. So we're gonna grab here. Now, lighthouse is usually up on a rock, so we're gonna put it up a tiny, tiny bit. Remember to photopolymer if you need to, and I should have, but I didn't. Put a piercing mat, a magazine, something with a little bit of cushion to go underneath, okay? So I'm just gonna clean this really quick so I can get this back where it belongs, because photopolymer stamps are really hard to find if you lose them. If you didn't know that, because they're usually clear, right? So, all right, so I gotta ask the question, what's everybody having for dinner? Have you already eaten? All those kind of things. My pot is on very, very low for just some like spaghetti tonight. Just quick, easy stuff. So I was just curious. Okay, so that is our lighthouse. You want to do this first before you do all the other pieces, because this is the piece that you're probably going to mess up because it doesn't line up perfectly. So do this first, so in case you have to redo, it's not a big deal to flip over. Okay, that's the why. I know, my logic, but hey. It is what it is, okay? So we're gonna grab here, and I'm gonna grab my birds. Nothing is sticking to this block. I wonder if it's the block. Let's flip it over. All right, so I'm grabbing my birds, and I'm gonna stick them in the sky, a little bit over the sun, a little bit, yeah. So there's my birds. Or my seagulls, or whatever else you want to call them. Okay. So can you feel the mist of the ocean air? I wish. I wish. But hey. I don't know. It's going to be a little bit before we get to go. We'll just say it that way. I think in April Sausage and pasta salad. All right, so it's an Italian night for a bunch of us. Got it. So now I am grabbing my little grass and I'm stamping some grass. Just here and there's. If you mess up, stamp some birds or something over it. Not a big deal. But you don't want the grass to go all the way in the ocean. So you gotta stop at some point, right? So now what do I have left? I have my birds, my sandpipers, and I have my my ocean to do. And then I'm all done. So first we're gonna do our birds. Ocean's gonna come in last to fill everything else in, okay? So we're gonna have our birds sitting on the water's edge. So there's my birds, okay? And then last but not least, I gotta get back my Pacific Point. Like I said, lots of ink pads for this, okay? Now, I'm grabbing my water. I want it to kind of slope, okay? Actually, I want it to kind of slope, I should say. So I'm gonna just slope my stamp. It's just that simple. I know, it sounds much more simpler than it is, but it's just what I'm gonna do, okay? So that is my landscape and my blender. Pretty, right? I probably would have moved the lighthouse a tiny bit down, but hey, it is what it is. They all come out different every single time. So I'm gonna grab my Stampin' Seal Plus, grab it and throw it down here. One thing you need to be careful of when you're gluing, when you flip it like that, make sure you don't put it in a whole bunch of your ink that's left over on the side, because it will put spots, shall we say. Okay, so just make sure you're careful with where you put things, because your ink, when it's been layered like on a scrap mat, it does stay wet for a minute. So you just want to make sure after you put in all that work, you don't want to have like lay it in something or watercolor spill your drink across it, right? So all right, so I don't know which one you like better. I need to have this one crease a little better. There we go. All right, so this one, Balmy Blue Matte. This one, Floating Lighthouse. No, I'm just kidding. Pacific Point. This one, we've got a Circle Sun. Let's see, I don't know, what else? So, tonight, couple things we learned. Start here. Start off your mat, right? As much as you want to pet them, try not to, because especially if you're doing a class or anything like that, encourage people not to touch them, because the more oil gets into there, the more oil goes on your ink pad, the more oil goes on your cardstock, and the less even of an image you'll have. So it's okay to just like thumb through, but I'm talking like, don't put it against your greasy face and do all that kind of stuff and oh, it feels so good, and then just go right into stamping. Okay, so just a thought. So anyways, so that is what I have for tonight. Thank you. I wish we all were at the beach, but it is what it is. So for tonight, I will leave you with this. Follow me, stampinwithjohnny.com, and thanks so much. Have a great night. Bye-bye.